The Nikon Z50 versus the Z50II. Should you really upgrade? As most of you know who watch my channel, realize that I bought the Nikon Z50II recently. Now, in the videos that I've been posting up with that camera, a lot of you in the comments have been saying, I own the Z50. Should I really upgrade to this Z50II? So, should you actually make the jump? Find out next. Welcome back to the channel, guys. Well, here we are. It's the Nikon Z50 versus the Nikon Z50II. Should you really upgrade? Back in 2022, I hired the Nikon Z50 camera to try out for 6 months. I'm going to make a confession. I'm going to put my hand up right here and say, I used to be the biggest cynic of crop sensor cameras. I was a die-hard full frame guy. But that little Z50 really did change my mind. I was very impressed by both the still image and video quality out of it, but there were just a few things that I couldn't get past. The autofocusing system in the Z50 was just one of my beefs that I had with it. So too the rear screen. It was one of those tilt ones that tilted up, but it also tilted all the way down so you could vlog with it. But I'm going to talk more about that in just a minute. So first of all, let's head off and we'll have a look at the comparative specs between the Z50 and the Z50II. When you compare both cameras side by side, you'll notice the Z52 is now just that little bit bigger and has a deeper grip. The Z50 weighs in at 450 grams, that is with the battery, and the Z52 weighs in at 550 grams, again with the battery. So it's not really a huge difference there. At the time of making this video, the Z50 body retails for approximately $750 US. And the Z52, being a newly released camera, it's around $900 US. Both cameras share the same 20.9 megapixel image sensor. Now, I know there are some people out there that are quite disappointed in that, but I thought the Z50 sensor was quite good to begin with. In terms of video specs, the Z52 now offers up to 4K 60 frames per second in 10-bit N-Log internal recording. This, however, is with a crop. The Z50 maxes out at 4K at 30 frames per second. The Z50 has an X-Speed 6 processor, whereas the new Z52 has an X-Speed 7 processor. With that extra power on the Z52, you now get a lot more options in subject detection modes in autofocus. When it comes to frames per second, both cameras shoot at 11 frames per second in high-speed continuous mode, but the Z52 now offers pre-capture release. However, shooting in that pre-capture release mode only enables you to shoot in JPEGs. Again, some people are disappointed with this. They really wanted it in RAW. The Z50 has a tilt-up and down screen, but the new Z52 has a fully articulated flip-out screen. This comes in very handy for vlogging and for those low-angle shots. Both cameras have the same SD card slots in the battery compartment, but the Z52 now comes with an EN-EL25A battery, compared to the Z50 that comes with an EN-EL25 battery. Now, actually speaking of batteries, one of the little disappointments that I had with the Nikon Z52 when I unboxed it is that Nikon no longer supply you with a wall charger inside the box. Look, I understand this has pretty much become the norm now with new cameras, but for those people who want to buy the Z52 and just want to get it home and rip it out of the box and start using it after charging the battery, well, you can't if you don't have a USB-C wall charger. So I actually had to wait a day before being able to use the Z52 because I was forced to go and buy a USB-C wall charger. When I had the Z50, it came with a battery charger that I just simply plugged into the wall. The other thing with the battery is that I noticed on both the Z50 and Z52, the battery power does not last long. In fact, I think the newer EN-EL25A battery lasts a little bit less than the Z50 battery. So if you were shooting out in the field for extended periods of time, you're probably going to be needing at least 2 or 3 batteries. But now for some good news. I actually found a budget solution to both of those problems re the battery for the Z50 and the Z52. Thanks to the team at K&F Concept, they offer this dual EN-EL25 battery pack along with a USB charger. The charger also works with the EN-EL25A Z50II battery. So I've used both of these batteries you get with this charger kit for the past couple of weeks out in the field, and I found they work just as well and last just as long as the EN-EL25A battery you get with the Z50II. For more info on this recharger and battery pack, I've left you a link in the description box below that you can check out. So let me talk about some of the reasons why you shouldn't upgrade, and then I'll talk about some of the reasons why you should. In some of the comments of my Z52 videos I uploaded recently, some folks out there said that they use their current Z50 with the 16-50 and 50-250mm kit lenses to go traveling and take shots of the family on holiday. Others said they like to use their Z50 combined with an L bracket for landscape shots. Both asked, is it worth upgrading? My advice to those people was not to upgrade to the Z52. Now, the reason for that was they were mainly taking still shots, mainly happy snaps. So the Z50 and the Z52 share the same image sensor, so they're not going to see any sort of difference in image quality. You won't need blistering fast speed in autofocus to take landscape shots. Nor will you when you've got Uncle Henry doing his best impersonation of holding up the Leaning Tower of Pisa. The Z50 is still a very good, capable camera for those types of outings. My advice, save your money on upgrading and maybe perhaps put it towards your holiday or photographic accessories like a tripod or some filters. Okay, so let's talk about some of the reasons why you should upgrade to the Nikon Z50II. If you're more into videography in a big way, birds and wildlife photography, portrait photography, or the type of photography where you need snappy eye detect, then the Z52 with its new X-Speed 7 processor and its multi-focus mode selection is definitely worth upgrading to. That X-Speed 7 processor is the same processor found in the likes of the more expensive and larger Nikon Z8 and Z9 cameras. Essentially what Nikon have done is they've dropped a V8 engine into a small compact Toyota Corolla. You've now got some serious power under the hood of the Z52, which is a lighter, smaller camera, making it easier to take hiking, traveling, or for extended times using handheld. When you look at the menu on the Z52, you have so much more now to choose from in terms of what you can value add to the camera to make your video and photography outings all the more better. If you're into vlogging, then the flip out screen on the Z52 is a much better option now, as you can clearly see yourself instead of some tripod getting in the way. Being able to internally record video in 10-bit N-Log gives you so much more scope now for post-grading your footage, giving you more vibrant colors and greater creative control. As I've already mentioned, although the pre-capture release on the Z52 does only shoot in JPEG, it still gives you the opportunity to capture images you would have normally missed out on. Think about it, things like breaching whales, birds taking flight or catching their prey, or the start or finish of an athletic race. It's better to have a JPEG, I guess, than nothing at all. Lastly, ergonomics wise, I found the Z52 much more comfortable to shoot with for extended periods out in the field. The deeper grip seems to fit my hand much better than the old Z50 grip did. So some of the reasons why I actually bought this Nikon Z52 is that I'm going to be using it for a studio camera to film all my YouTube videos right here. As well as I do a lot of reviews here on YouTube for things like DX or crop sensor lenses. So this is going to be the camera I'm going to be testing them on. As well as I do a little bit of bird and wildlife photography. I've already headed out and I've done a few videos with this camera on birds and wildlife, and the results have just been pretty amazing. Anyway, I'm going to do some more testing with this little camera yet. As I get those results in, I'm going to share them with you. Well guys, I hope this video has helped you out when it comes to, should you upgrade from the Z50 to the Z52. Never stop creating, and I'll see you next time.